After swapping entire careers with Kobe, James and the Big Shaq got swept 3 years straight from 1996 to 1999. And yet, the talent on this Lakers roster was absolutely electric. That kind of performance, simply unacceptable. So the front office turned their fire on head coach Mike Dunleavy, a man whose coaching ability left everything to be desired. They went out and brought in the most powerful head coach of the era, Phil Jackson, the man who had led the Bulls' number 23 to 6 championship rings. Their plan? To take their own number 23, and with the triangle offense as the system behind him, forge him into the second unstoppable perimeter superstar in league history. But what nobody saw coming, Phil Jackson was starting to look like a man living off his reputation alone. That so-called triangle offense of his, it didn't elevate James. It buried him. James didn't even make the All-NBA third team in the year 2000 selections. The saving grace was that James and O'Neal, both already rated 96 overall, were so individually dominant that even playing off pure personal ability, they still put up jaw-dropping team records. But for 3 consecutive years, the Lakers' problem was never regular season success. The question was always, could they find a breakthrough answer in the high-stakes moments of the playoffs? So when the Lakers needed a full 5-game war just to survive against the aging Utah Jazz and their Twin Towers, the question of whether they could get their revenge on the Spurs loomed large, with a massive question mark. And then, the unthinkable. Just when everyone was waiting for the Lakers versus the Spurs showdown in the Western Conference Finals, the Minnesota Timberwolves came out of nowhere and became a wall they could not break through. Garnett's Timberwolves ripped apart the Zen Masters' carefully constructed tactical genius reputation and tore it to absolute shreds. O'Neal and James posted eye-watering numbers in all 4 games of that series and still could not win a single one. Any basketball mind with clear eyes knew it. This coaching staff had a massive gaping deficiency because in the entire 2000 playoffs, the only other Western Conference team swept out, just like them, was Portland, swept by San Antonio. And even Portland's players had the nerve to say if the first round was best of 7-2, they would have won at least 1 game. That cut deep into the hearts of Shaq and James, 2 men who refused to accept anything less than greatness. But the front office, hoodwinked by the Zen Master's silver tongue, kept on believing in this false prophet, a man who only won those 6 rings because he had Michael Jordan. And at Jackson's request, they went out and added Rodriguez and Grant to the roster. Still, it was precisely because of that upgraded firepower around them that O'Neal and James, the 2 most lethal scorers on the team, finally got to taste what it truly felt like to be untouchable. They ran through opponent after opponent, finishing with 56 wins and the number 1 seed in the West. And for the first time in their partnership, both men made the All-NBA first team simultaneously. It was the official signal this duo had entered the absolute peak of their reign together. The Lakers' prestige had reached its highest point in years. The fans were burning with anticipation. They wanted this team to bring back the glory days of Showtime, and the Lakers did not disappoint. A clean, clinical 3-0 sweep later, and Los Angeles was storming into the second round. Waiting for them this time, the Sacramento Kings, led by Mitch Richmond and Chris Webber. Ever since they got Webber, the Kings had rocketed straight to the top tier of the Western Conference, adding the big-bodied shield of Geiger for rim protection. Their interior offense and defense have experienced an exponential upgrade. And on the perimeter, they had multiple elite scorers ready to go, getting past Sacramento. This was not going to be easy. On top of that, even though James had grown into one of the most dominant small forwards in the entire league, the triangle offense had been handcuffing his scoring firepower this whole time. James, a player who thrived on pick-and-roll attacks, was being forced to play timid and cautious within this system. Right from the opening moments of that series, his offense ran into wall after wall, and that perimeter scoring drought looped right back around to strangle the triangle itself, making the whole system grind to a halt. Phil Jackson's coaching impact. At this point, it had shrunk down to almost nothing. Before, his coaching meant using the superstars' individual brilliance to bail out the moments when the system broke down. Now, it meant using the superstars' individual brilliance to paper over the fact that the triangle offense was basically dead on arrival. And Sacramento's counter strategy was actually not complicated at all. On defense, all they needed to do was pack the paint, and that was enough to choke out the majority of the Lakers' offense. On offense, since the Kings had shooters and playmakers from the point guard all the way up to the power forward, all they had to do was run the same exact play that Jazz, Spurs, and the Wolves had been running for years. Target the Lakers' giant center in pick-and-roll coverage, and that one trick was all it took to feast all night long. After 3 games, the Lakers, at home with home court advantage, had fallen into a desperate 1-2 hole. In previous years, every time they hit a wall like this, the Lakers usually fell apart completely. But now, Shaq was at the absolute peak of his powers. James' body had grown stronger and more physically dominant than ever. No matter how broken the triangle was, these 2 superstars were not about to roll over and give up without a fight. The moment Game 4 tipped off, LeBron came out blazing, scoring, driving, drawing fouls. His iron-willed conviction ignited his touch into something scorching hot. He played with pure, relentless aggression. This time, he and Shaq were not going to let the Lakers repeat their mistakes. With just over 5 minutes left in the game, it had turned into an absolute inferno. Would this be the turning point where the Lakers finally rise? Let's watch together.
James on the perimeter, he ties it up. Geiger with the rebound.
And Sacramento is back in front by 3.
into the post. The whistle blows right at the moment of release. The ref catches the foul. He knocks both free throws down.
Oh, wow, the alley-oop is coming. The pass goes to Del Negro. O'Neal sets the screen. The shot clock is down to 5.
Shaq throws it down. That is exactly the kind of pass O'Neal feeds off of.
Now here is Richmond with the ball, firing from the high post. This is a perfect nothing but net shot. That right there is elite chemistry between teammates. The pass goes to Del Negro. A pull-up jumper at the free throw line, and it is good. Left wing, a 17-foot jumper. Richmond's release looks a little off on that one.
The ball finds O'Neal.
Del Negro. It goes in.
That basket right there solved the Lakers' problem of not being able to crack the defense when it matters. That is a clutch score.
Weber catches the ball. Horry gets called for the offensive foul. Geiger is going to the charity stripe now. And he nails both of them. The gap is still 3. Pass to Del Negro. He has become the offensive lifeline for the Lakers right now. Sacramento grabs the rebound. This is Williamson. Now Weber with the ball.
Now Richmond with the ball, going up against Del Negro's defense. Big Shaq with the rejection.
O'Neal sets the screen. Into the post. The ball gets stolen. Weber posting up low. A beautiful running layup. He gets those 2 points with ease.
James out on the perimeter.
That foul is absolutely blatant. He is walking to the line for 2. First free throw drops. The gap is now down to 4. He hits both free throws. This is Alexander, working the left wing. Now it is Weber with the ball. Clock is down to 6. He rises up over Horry. This shot is tough. Good ball. Now LeBron has it. He fires a 3. Sacramento grabs the rebound, and at their peak, they led by 22. Weber attacks the paint. Lakers foul him. The whistle blows. They pushed him during his shot attempt. First free throw is good. Their lead is back to 6.
He drills both free throws, and the margin opens back up to 7. The Lakers call timeout.
Here in Sacramento's own building, Weber has become the real king. With the entire arena chanting MVP around him, he steps up and delivers 2 for 2 at the line, and sends the pressure crashing right back down onto LeBron and Shaq. So how do the 2 Lakers superstars respond? Let's stay with it.
The ball finds LeBron. Here is Fisher. O'Neal sets the screen. Fisher fires over Alexander. Now LeBron has it. Slicing into the middle. O'Neal catches. It is good. That basket cuts the deficit all the way down to 5. And true to his stats, as the king of this Lakers team, O'Neal adds the and what? The gap is down to 4. They go to the intentional foul strategy. First free throw is solid. Sacramento leads by 5. He hits both free throws. The margin sits at 6, and Los Angeles calls timeout. The shot clock winds down to nothing. There's 1 second left. Shaq throws it down. A spectacular alley. OP, finish. But right now they need 3 pointers. 2 points at a time is not going to bring this team back. Both free throws are good. The gap is still 6.
They need to score fast. Yes, the clock is ticking down.
The ball finds a big Shaq. Fisher. The 3 is off the mark. They go to the intentional foul X.
In the most critical, the most desperate moment, Fisher, one of this team's most reliable three-point shooters, betrays the enormous trust O'Neal placed in him. That missed shot right there directly buried the Lakers' last remaining chance at a comeback. And making it even more heartbreaking, the very next possession, he turns right around and lets down LeBron's pass too. That sequence is basically a mirror of the Lakers' entire night. LeBron went for 44 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds. Shaq went for 31 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, spectacular numbers. But with teammates performing this badly around them, Fisher going scoreless for the entire game, the Lakers losing to the Kings was really no surprise at all. Their spirit crumbled, and completely as expected, the Lakers crashed out in the Western Conference semifinals again. All they could do was stand there and watch, burning with frustration, as the Spurs were crowned champions once more. But when you looked at the playoff scoring leaderboard, Shaq and LeBron were genuinely the most unguardable 1-2 combination in the entire league. If the front office couldn't wake up and recognize the massive gaps in coaching and roster construction, the road back to a championship for the Lakers was going to be a very, very long one. But the front office, unwilling to spend big, didn't fire Phil Jackson, not even close. Instead, they barely tinkered with the roster around the edges, and basically stood completely still. The kind of clutch star they needed, someone who could bail them out in critical moments, they couldn't land a single one. So when the 2001-02 season came around, they entered as the number 2 seed in the West, and bulldozed their way to the Western Conference Finals on pure talent, only to run right back into the Kings again. And once again, the exact same wall stood in their way. This time, Sacramento's roster had been fully upgraded. The Bibby and Weber pick and roll was just as dangerous as anything the old Utah Jazz Twin Towers had ever run. So even though Sacramento still couldn't stop the rampaging, paint-destroying Big Shaq, and still couldn't contain the freakishly gifted, untouchable young king, they only needed that one pick and roll weapon to completely dismantle the Lakers' entire defense. And Weber made it even worse because he was a true elite playmaker. He didn't need to hold the ball for 20 seconds. He always found the right pass, from O'Neal in the post to Fisher on the perimeter. Almost every single Laker fell into statue mode on defense, standing frozen like a deer in headlights. So even when the Lakers muscled their way to 2 points down low, they'd turn right around and give up 2 or even 3 points on the other end just as fast. Game 2 between these two teams turned into an absolute bloodbath, and that game exposed another serious problem, because O'Neal had to constantly set screens in the pick and roll for LeBron. His ability to control the defensive glass had been dramatically weakened, and beyond their scoring at the rim, production from every other spot on the floor was dangerously thin. What made it even more painful was that this problem was still haunting the Lakers with just over 2 minutes left in Game 3. Could they somehow flip the script and pull off the impossible comeback? Let's watch and see.
Richmond fires an open three pure. They absolutely cannot give up open looks like that on defense. In a moment this critical, that is a fatal mistake.
James on the right side. Pass to Fisher.
Over to O'Neal. Left wing, the three is up. O'Neal gets the rebound. He banks it in off the glass. Now Bibby with the ball. Feeds it to Chris Webber. Webber drives and draws the foul. He gets 2 free throw attempts. The talent gaps on this Lakers roster are just too obvious right now. Second free throw is clean. He makes both, and the margin blows out to 11.
Fisher with the ball. He pulls up for the spot away.
O'Neal with the putback, and that tip in comes right on time. The ball goes back to Bibby. 6 seconds on the shot clock.
He attacks the paint.
Bibby's strong drive to the basket failed to convert. In theory, the Lakers still have a shot at this, but they need to move. LeBron steps up. He has finally taken over this offense. Here is Bibby. That shot is way too desperate, showing absolutely no respect for Shaq's defense on that play. Time is running out for the Lakers fast.
At the moment of absolute life or death, James commits a strange and devastating turnover. Down 6, the Lakers have no choice but to gamble, going for the full court trap to try and steal the ball. But that leaves them completely exposed, and Bibby quietly sneaks in for the kill. The Lakers spiral into frustration and panic. In the chaos, they immediately follow it up with a rare and costly failed alley-oop, and that right there is the final straw that breaks everything. They fall into an 0-3 abyss. James and O'Neal's explosive stat lines mean absolutely nothing now. Pure empty calories. They have been completely lost and overwhelmed against teams that stockpile elite interior big men and can hit mid-range jumpers consistently. Swept again, and they stand on the outside looking in at the champions one more time. And this scenario, it feels like an unsolvable curse. Every time they meet this type of team, the ending is always heartbreakingly the same. Fast forward to the 2003 playoffs, and when they run into the Spurs again, they get handled with a clean and convincing 4-1 series loss. At that moment, everyone finally understood the cold hard truth. the Lakers were nowhere near a championship. If they didn't move fast, change the coaching staff, upgrade the roster, the wave of young talent pouring into this league was going to become the new wall standing in their way. So when will this unstoppable LeBron and his partner in dominance, the Big Shaq, finally claim the championship trophy that belongs to them? Brothers, to find out what happens next, stay tuned for the next episode.